Team Yellow Tech.
What's up, guys?
What's going on, folks?
I told them I said we're waiting on Gabe to sit down.
Hey, I'm having a good time, man.
Aaron said the mail wears him out.
Oh, man,
Yeah.
It's been hot. We had a ton of parcels. You know, you hear me talk about the same thing every time, but it was a full day.
It has been hot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been really hot.
I'll agree with that.
Last week was ridiculous. This morning was actually pretty decent. And then
it was nice.
There was a breeze blowing and stuff.
It was nice till about 9:30.
Yeah, exactly. And then it started getting humid.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad we had a little bit of a breeze.
Yeah. Mr. Hank Snow, what's going on, dude?
Hank Snow.
We're complaining about 90, 95 degree weather, and Hank Snow's down in Florida with 105 or 110 probably.
Yeah, he's ready to compete with them BPT boys down there.
He was fishing on Toho, actually.
Yeah, exactly. I saw that.
So
he's ready to jump in that tournament.
Yep. You got to show him how it's done. He's going to be delivering in the monsoon tomorrow.
Yeah, I know, man. I know. I got a tournament Wednesday. I'm hoping it pushes through by then.
Well, it's supposed to be done out here, I think, by tomorrow morning, isn't it?
I don't know.
Well, I
haven't watched the latest weather.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be like just tonight, starting at like 7 and going through.
And we'll have some cool temperatures behind it, hopefully.
Yeah.
What's up, Bass Guy? Bass Guy is in the house. That's your line. Bass Guy in the house.
There.
Hank Snow got him better than some of the pros. I watched a little bit of that today. I got to see Mark Rose was wrecking him on a spinning on the upside down pole, the fairy wand. He caught a 9-2.
What?
Yeah, on a little worm. I don't know exactly what worm he was fishing. It was a Strike King worm. I think it was just a finesse worm, but he was fishing a light line in that grass, and he caught a 9-2.
Finesse game is strong.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Topwater was on fire yesterday morning at Kincaid, or at least where I was on the lake. I would imagine that topwater bite's pretty much warming up just about everywhere, I would think. So.
Yeah, what's up, David? Good seeing you, man. Happy Monday to you as well. Yeah, the water's. I went over to Cedar yesterday for a few hours in the evening, and it was like mid-80s water temps over there.
Mid-80s?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. I mean,
smoking. There's a thermocline set up too, around 12 foot over there already.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, it's. I say sometime yesterday, between yesterday and last night, my pond started turning.
Mm-hmm.
I could tell a big difference.
You get that brown kind of color.
No, it's getting that real greenish, nasty looking.
Yep.
Just you can't even hardly see through it. So.
Yeah. By the way, we didn't plan on wearing the same hat, in case you guys are wondering.
No, just great minds think alike.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, Hank said, "Give the spinner its due." Yeah. So Tom in the house.
Tom's here. What's up? Good to see you.
So you said you want to talk postpone, maybe transition bite, summer bite, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I'm thinking. That's kind of what's going on right now in our neck of the woods. The bass are done spawning. I mean, for the most part, I would say. I don't want to put a percentage on it, but let's just say 90% of them are done.
I would say 90%.
Yeah. There's still a few late scragglers out there. I'm seeing a lot of fry I'm seeing a lot of bigger fry now. Finally,
I'm seeing a lot of the fish that are just fat. They're fattening up after that post spawn. They get that hungry, just going and gorging themselves before they head out deep. I've been seeing a lot of that too.
Yeah. So they're making their way out there. I've been looking out deep. I went over there yesterday for I didn't get over there about 4:30ish. Fish from like 5 to 9, and I just pretty much looked out deep, and I'm seeing some fish out there now. Just not stacked up like I want them to see, but it's a grass lake, so there's always going to be
they're scattered.
They're going to be scattered, but every once in a while you'll find them. So you got to look. I looked at a lot of stuff yesterday, and I got Wednesday off. I've got the Wednesday nighter. It's the first Wednesday night of the year for us. So I'm going to go up there Wednesday morning, and I'm going to try to just look. It's hard to do, though. It's hard to just look. I looked for about an hour and a half yesterday. I didn't fish a whole bunch. But it's
when you got poles sitting right in front of you, it's hard not to pick one of them up.
Yeah, you kind of look for something that it's not exactly what you want to find, but it's a little bit of something.
Yeah.
So you end up fishing it for a little bit.
You know, I even told Darren on here, he was talking about Kincaid, and I told him, I said, your best thing to do over there, you know, go in the fall, go over there when that water's, you know, a little bit calmer, not as many boat traffic going on, and just look on your sonar, just follow your grass and look for spots, and then mark them, and then go fish them in the summer. But that's how you build a little bit of confidence in that, you know, finding those real good offshore spots that are brush piles and rock piles, and, you know, start getting bit off of them. Because he was talking about he's got a real hard time summer fishing. So that's one good way to do it.
Yeah, that's a deep lake. I plan on getting over there more this summer and fishing that stuff out on the deeper grass lines and stuff, and fishing.
Well, you look like you knew what you were doing a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, right. We all did. DJ, congratulations, man! Got second place Saturday at Clearwater.
I've seen that.
No good ones. 20 pounds.
He's been wrecking them pretty good in the tournaments. Really.
Yeah.
I'm jealous he's fishing them.
Yeah, that's a cool lake, man. I got a video coming out sometime. I finished it up last night.
I thought you just did. Oh, no, you did.
That was Wapapello, yeah. But I went down there with Phil again, and he showed me around. That's the first time I'd ever been on that lake, and it's a cool lake. It was up 15 feet, so there was all kinds of bushes and stuff in the water everywhere.
Well, you're probably fishing the trees at that point.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we were fishing just all kinds of bushes and stuff, and it was cool. We ran back in both, you know, was it Webb Creek, and then there's, you know, the Black River. There's a couple creeks over there.
Yeah, I was there, a bunch of them,
and it was fun. It was cool because we were fishing at the main creek channel, and then you get out what would be a flat, you know, when you're in 12 foot of water. So normally at normal pool, that's going to be, you know, 3 foot of land right there, but you're running just over what would be dry ground. You're still 12 foot of water underneath your boat. Yeah, you don't run in that very often on Wapapello. So Jay Bassin asked what was on the hats. That's actually Yolotech. Yeah, these are Yolotech hats. Man, short story. I bought the Yolotech Power Stick it's been about 4 or 5 months ago. And before that, I just had something rigged up, and I had cords hanging down, and I had to run it I had a 12 volt adapter in my boat. So I'd run the 12 volt adapter across my back deck, and I'd have probably 10-foot cord. I wrapped it around a navigational light, and I had this mount kind of rigged up on there and my GoPro on that. And it worked okay. But whenever somebody's in the back of the boat, you know, their rods are always getting in, and it's just in their way. They're stepping on it. And I got that Power Stick, like I said, about 4 or 5 months ago, and it is sweet. If you guys do any video and stuff, I highly recommend looking into that. You just plug it in your nav light, and you got direct power. It's got 2 USB ports on it. It's got a GoPro mount on the top, and you can even buy like a little piece that will hold a LED light and then your GoPro on the other side. So you can, if you're doing any video at night, you can throw some light out there and get a little bit of footage. Or if you're just rigging up your tackle in the morning, or even in the evening, whatever, you turn that LED light and it lights up the whole boat. It's pretty sweet, but that thing is well worth the money if you're out there doing a lot of video.
That is no joke.
Yeah,
it's having the wires all laying around.
Yeah, it's nice. It's so handy, and it's the one I got gets like you can expand to like 53 inches, and that's a good height for getting a good perspective on your videos. You know, if the lower that camera sits, the more
view you got.
Yeah, you just lose that. You get a lot of butt shots, and you can't really see down into the water and see the fish jumping as well. So it's all about just getting it up a little bit.
Yeah. David said he was driving around wobble head on the Z-Crawl. So didn't have much time this weekend, but did okay on a small lake. Fish coming and going and spawn here in PA. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm sure. I talked to my uncle yesterday, and I'm not sure where you're at, David, up in PA, but he lives right in the middle of Pennsylvania, Maryland, and West Virginia. I mean, he's right smack dab in the middle of all three there. But he fishes all three of them, and he said he had I guess his fish that he was fishing were right up there on the spawn. He said you could see all of them up there running back and forth, but they weren't biting much at all. So
DJ says the other there was 2 tournaments going on that day at Clearwater. It took 25 pounds. Man, that lake has got some fish in it. I didn't realize that it had the size.
Probably you're talking 12 or 15 years ago. That used to be where our biggest bass of the year would come from.
Really?
Clearwater, yeah. Every year.
I mean, I see why.
I've seen several 7s come out of there. It's got a lot of big bass in it. It's just a matter of catching them and getting lucky enough. Tackle Junkies in the house. What's up, bro?
Yeah. Good to see you in here. So let's let's dive into this post spawn stuff, man. You know,
Oh,
I mean,
you got half your boat over
I
here.
should have just hooked up my boat. It would have been a lot easier. I was scrambling around when I got home, just throwing a bunch of stuff together. So we're going to talk about offshore and the post spawn. What happens after the fish spawn? You got the fry garters and the bluegill chasers in there, kind of mixing in. Especially if you got grass lake, some of those fish will stay up shallow most of the year. Some of them will move to that outside grass line and go out deeper. You know, they'll set up on, when I say offshore, I'm meaning points, basically just off the bank somewhere. It doesn't really have to be deep.
Going to the spawn.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be deep. For instance, something I've been kind of focusing on lately is some of those spawning cuts that come in. They'll be 6 or 7 feet out in the middle. You know, say they're 200 yards across, but they're 6, 7, 8 feet in the middle. That's offshore. You know, you're 2 casts off the bank, but there's grass growing out there. Focusing on that stuff, those fish can move out there.
So you just said follow the bait fish. That's another.
Yeah,
that's a big key.
That's the key right there. You know, as long as the bait is up in the grass, the fish are going to be in the grass with the bait. So I was just kind of thinking about this today. How I want to approach talking about this, and I guess starting from the top and working our way through the middle of the water column and going all the way down to the bottom. Something that'll happen a lot of times on those offshore fish. It's pretty common in the morning, and then it'll happen throughout the middle of the day. Is you'll get a topwater bite, even out deep. You know, you can even be out there in 15, 20 feet, and those fish will just kind of start blowing up and schooling. And a lot of times what they're doing is they're sitting on those points down close to the bottom, or a lot of times they're suspended, but they're waiting on bait to swim over them. Some of them are actually
from this deep part over the shallow into the next.
That's right. Yep. That's right. And they're waiting there, and when that happens, all of a sudden, the top of the water just kind of blows up, and you're like, "What in the world's going on?" And most of those fish are like 40 yards too far for a cast. It's amazing. It's amazing how that happens.
Exactly.
And it happens quick. They'll come up for 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and then by the time you put that trolling motor on high and get over there, they're back down. You can still catch those fish sometimes. So. Obviously, a topwater is something that you need to have tied on because you never know when that's going to happen.
And I'll say this right off the bat: if you're going to be throwing topwater this time of year, and for that in particular reason, I would definitely suggest a longer rod and something you could bomb a cast with.
Exactly. Something 7/6, something like that. And you throw a braid mainly on topwater?
I do on the buzz baits. I don't. I throw mono because I do like having that little bit of stretch. So.
Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty much. I like 30-pound braid is what I've kind of just settled on, because I also use that same rod for some buzz baits and some toads and things like that. So that way I can have just one rod that covers a lot of things. So I'm gonna get out a few baits here, and you can talk about any of these you want.
Oh, walking baits.
Pretty much.
Yep. So what else you got in there?
I got a plopper too I brought.
A plop. Now I tell you what, this is probably one of my favorites right there is that Walrus plopper. Now this is a little bit bigger size. This is the one with 110. So what is this? 130.
130.
Okay, so the 130. So this is a little bit bigger size. You guys can kind of see that there. It's pretty decent size. But a lot of people don't throw that because they think it's too big. They go down to that 75, or I think, what is it, 75 and 80? 75 and 90?
Yeah, 70. There's a 75, is that little short stub.
Yeah, it's a real fat one. And I actually don't care for that one because of it being so big around on the body. Because I get a lot of small bass that hit that thing, and all you do is hook them inside the face every time. But going to that bigger style like that, though, I seem to get a lot more blowups on this one, and I think it's a lot different sound.
Mm-hmm.
This is more of that bloop bloop bloop. With that other one, it's more of a kind of like a what do you call the old torpedoes, and that's what you get out of those. So that's one reason I really like throwing that bigger style with that different sound.
Now, have you played with cadence on that, or you just typically throw it out and reel it in?
No, I bet maybe 1 out of 100 times I throw that, I'll reel it straight in. Rest of the time, it's a stop and pause or a rip, something like that. I'm constantly changing that.
Yeah, that right there is a big key. Just ripping that bait, especially if you got really choppy conditions, you got a little bit of wind, just ripping that thing, making it shoot forward about a foot and then let it sit for a little bit. That really wakes those fish up.
You get some aggressive bites doing it too.
Yeah, you do. And they crush that thing. It's a bite like no other topwater. I mean, they don't like it. They're trying to kill that thing. They just crush it.
Now you're getting ready to bring up one of my favorites for my local lake.
This big one?
Oh yeah.
Really?
It still has one over there, I can tell you.
So that's a mega dog.
Yep.
So here's another big walking bait. This is the Strike King Mega Dog. This is a really big bait. I like colors on the Walker Plopper. Black, the monkey butt.
I use the loon.
Yeah. Okay. This is bone. If you're gonna buy a topwater bait and you can only buy one, bone it's hard to beat bone. This is a really big bait. So here's your, what is this, a 110?
That's 130.
130. Okay, there's your Whopper Plopper. You guys know how big that 130 is. And this is the Mega Dog. So quite a bit bigger. This sucker gets out there. You talk about bombing something out there to reach those schooling fish. It will take every last little yard of line off of your reel. Yeah.
You got to be careful throwing the bigger ones.
Yeah, you can lose all
especially
your line.
Like I know and it's just throwing this out there on the mono I was talking about earlier. You were talking about bombing cast out there. I'll throw on 12-pound mono. But you can throw a long way on 12-pound mono.
Yeah, yes sir. Yes sir. And I put a feather. I tied this feather treble hook on there. And I think that makes a difference a lot of times, especially when it's sitting still. When it's sitting still, this feather kind of still has some movement. It kind of fluffs out a little bit.
It's like a dead bait fish tail.
Yeah. And I don't know, it's a confidence thing, but I think it does make a difference, a feather on a topwater bait. So that's going to wake them up right there, rougher conditions. And then here's a 3-hook sexy dog. I've caught a ton of fish on this, and you have too. I like this chrome with the green back. It's got the white belly. This is a really solid color for me.
That's probably one of my top baits to walk next to docks.
Is it like chrome sexy shad or something? I don't know. But this sucker right here that's a really good walking bait. And then the spook, of course. You know, you got the one knocker, and then you got the original. Those are all good walking baits.
Hank wants to know what your thoughts is on that and flash the tail, the feathers.
Thoughts on adding some Flashaboo? I tie that little bit of Flashaboo in all my tail feathers. I kind of started with trout fishing. I tie up a lot of trout flies and stuff. And if you're going for something that just kind of stands out a little bit, just got a little bit of sparkle, I don't overdo it. You just want a little bit of flash, just kind of get their attention or whatever. But it's kind of a confidence thing. I mean, I think either way would work just fine. But when I'm tying this stuff in, I just go ahead and throw in. That's probably 6 strands of Flashaboo, maybe 6 to 8, something like that. So it's not overpowering, but just something subtle.
Yeah. And Tom, I seen you put on there. He said the first fish of the year was on that 75 size. And yeah, I'm not saying they don't catch fish at all. I'm just saying the reason I don't throw it was because of the difference in sound. Like I said, there's a huge difference there.
Mm-hmm. Well, it depends on the day. I mean,
and if you got calm conditions, conditions will be, I will definitely probably set down to that smaller size.
And so another bait that sometimes they like is just a popper out there, just a bloop, bloop. It's more subtle. You know, if you get out there in the morning, this is kind of geared towards the morning for the most part. If you get out there in the morning and it's kind of flat and it's kind of slick. Sometimes that Whopper Plopper or that big sexy dog is a little bit too much for them. They don't want something walking. They don't want something just with a lot of commotion. They want something real subtle. And
I will say this. A while ago I said this is my favorite bait walking by a dock. That is my favorite bait throwing inside the dock.
Yeah. Whoa. It's got hooks on it. Yeah, this little sucker here. These are kind of not as many people fish these as they used to, but they still catch a lot of fish.
Now, do you have any of the 6 cents ones?
No, I don't.
I started throwing them. I like them.
I don't. I've got so many of the Headin and the older poppers. I got some of the KVD splashes.
That's what Danny just said too.
Yeah, and they're a nice bait too. This is a really old one. It's actually got that triple grip hook that's kind of got that spiral thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this
Let's
sucker.
say bass guy on there. You say anyone have an opinion on the Bill Lewis stutter step?
I don't. I haven't played around with it. I have not played around with it. Okay, so this right here will get you a lot of bites as well. Sometimes, and this is usually later in the year.
Dang.
What, you got one too?
I've got a smaller version of the exact same seafood.
Okay, yeah.
I actually found it. It's been, I don't know what tackle box it was in. It's not even open.
Oh, yeah.
Heaton, and it's been there a while.
Well, see, so what happens is later in the season, July-ish, after July, August, something, especially in August. And by August, for sure, people have been hammering those schooling fish. They've been hammering those topwater fish out in those points, and they get a little bit harder to catch. They can get, a lot of times when it gets to the fall, they're almost impossible to catch. I mean, you might catch one or two, but they can get, basically what I'm saying is they can get really, really finicky. Sometimes this profile is too big for them. They want something that's this is a big bait, but they can't really make out what it is. Right. They focus on that little feather there, and it kind of just absorbs whatever it's around. And it's got I believe to the fish, it has a much smaller profile. They can't really make it out. And sometimes that right there will get you bites when all these, these more solid baits will not do it. So that's something you definitely want a clear walking bait, whatever brand it is that you like. And then one more thing, this is a baby spook. It's a little baby Zara spook. This sucker right here will catch fish too.
As good as mine.
This has caught some fish.
Yeah, there ain't much paint.
The hooks are brand new.
Actually, I think the back of mine's all peeled off. It's just chrome now.
Yeah, and this sucker right here, you talk about pond fishing in a kayak or a creek fishing in a kayak.
Oh yeah,
that's the deal in the river. But that's going to get you some more bites too. So you kind of got to, not to overcomplicate it, but there's several different things to think about when you're chasing those schoolers that are up on top of the water, whether it's in the morning or whether they come up in the afternoon, and they'll kind of do the same thing in the evenings. But I always have that on because you never know when they're going to come up. They just come up out of nowhere. Everything's quiet and dead, and then all of a sudden just fish start roaring.
Lake of the Ozarks is absolutely notorious for that too. Because you got all them little branches that come off there. And then the opening of every single one of them, that's where they blow up right in the center of it. It's like they just sit there and wait for point to point because they know the bait fish are coming back from either one of them.
Yeah, they know what they're doing out there. They corral those fish and stuff. So
yeah. Then he said also the little storm chug bug. So it was a good one with PB on it, late 12. A freaking hog. Still kicking my butt, Denny. Can't get past that 7.3 mark.
Oh, that's such a tough problem to have. If you added up your three PBs for the year, you have 22 pounds almost. There's a chug bug, guys. If you don't know what the chug bug is, storm chug bug. It's caught a lot of fish too. It's got a unique. It's a popper, but it's like a hybrid pencil popper almost. It's got a different action than all of them.
A little walking.
Yeah, it does a little walking, and it walks really easy. It's subtle too. It's kind of a little bit finessey. Okay, so that's we got the top waters covered, I think. Let's go down to want to go suspended fish.
Yeah, I was gonna say you better get the KVDs out. Oh, the XDs, not the KVDs, the XDs.
Yeah, well, let's just talk about crankbait real quick. I got you grabbed it, right? I just brought one crankbait, so go ahead. Tell them all about it. Yeah, that's all I brought.
Well, I can tell you right now, my biggest one is going to be the 6XD for this time of year. I mean, the 6XD is going to get down just deep enough. Like you said, you're going to have those mainly those bait fish are going to go out and try to go out a little bit deeper and deeper and deeper the farther the summer goes along. So once you're trying to follow them out there, getting on some of them steeper points, if you got maybe some kind of brush pile, something like that, or out a little bit deeper. Now when I say deeper, I'm talking probably 12, 15, probably be mid-range for around here.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say no more than that. But, and I've even said this before, guys, you can go with more of these natural colors and stuff for right now, but the farther you get into summer, start changing it up. Start looking for your wild colors. Throw something different than all your buddies. When the XDs come out, I think anybody and everybody all had the sexy shed. I mean, that was probably the most common color out there.
Right.
And everybody was throwing it. But then you see guys out there that are painting them bright orange or yellow or whatever it may be. But just I can't talk now. Differ yourself from them. Throw something with a different color. So if you're throwing them all and they've got, one knockers in them or whatever, try a different little bit, something with like a two knocker or just a plain Jane, no sound at all.
Right. Like a DT, the DT 16s and the 20s, they don't have a sound to them. They're just,
and these things have got some sharp.
Yeah.
Damn hooks on.
There's a lot of good, this crankbait, it covers that 16-foot zone. I mean, they say it gets down to 19, but really I think it's digging pretty good in about 16.
That's on 12?
That's 12-pound test.
12 pound, yeah.
Yep, on a long cast.
And that's what I was saying before, is a lot of those I throw on 15.
Mm-hmm.
But you got that much money wrapped up in crankbaits, it's hard to throw it on 12 sometimes.
Yeah,
now if I'm getting down deep and they're a little bit finicky, then I'll do it. But
I don't think that matters. I think it's just about getting it down to that depth. But there's a lot of good deep diving crankbaits out there. I mean,
now are you a steady retrieve?
No, man, I don't hardly ever steady retrieving. Sometimes I'll grind it and reel it as fast as I can. Other times, as soon as it hits something, I'll stop it. Sometimes I'll twitch it. I very rarely do I just reel it in.
I see a lot of guys that are straight reeling. I'm so curious, but I don't think there's anything out there that I'm just a steady retrieve on anything. But
yeah. So the 5XD, the Series 3, the 4s. I mean, there's a ton of good crankbaits out there. It just depends on on what depth you're going. I like the DT series a lot. I throw the DT10 a lot on some of that shallower offshore stuff on the outside of grass lines, things like that. The 14, if you can find it, the 16, 20. I don't throw the 20 a whole lot, but each crankbait's got his own purpose. He's got to kind of play around with them. And this is one of my weak points. Honestly, I've caught a lot of fish on deep crankbaits, but it's not something that it's not a confidence.
It'll wear your butt out in a hurry too.
It sure will. And you got to stick with it too. You got to stick with it. Got to bounce around, find the right schools and stuff. But this is another offshore tool that's going on right now in the right place.
Seen Paul D made it in here. Welcome, dude. Glad you finally made it.
We got Okie Outdoors in here.
Yep. Okie sent me a message here. What's he saying?
He's got his whole body's going to be covered up with ink.
I know. I've seen him. He's got a new one the other day. I don't think it was a new one. I think he was just doing the fill-in part.
Yeah, I saw an outline today. I think maybe he was just getting. I didn't know if it was a cover up or.
Oh, I seen the one that was filled in.
Yeah, that's a lot of ink, dude, man. I've been there, man. It only hurts for about 10 minutes.
You got a tattoo?
I got a bunch of tattoos.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh, that's weird.
Yeah, well, I lived right across the hallway from a tattoo artist when I was in my 20s. So for my birthday, I would get a new tattoo. Luckily, he only lived there for about 3 or 4 years. So.
I hear you. I've got a couple, but I bet they're probably not nearly as good as yours.
No, I don't have the Tweety bird like you.
You said you wouldn't tell nobody.
That's okay, man. This is we're open show here.
Yeah.
Hank asked if we saw the Rick Glenn video on the Pop R and the Rico. Yes, that was good.
I have not.
It's good, man. He's got a good little YouTube series going on. He's got one on Buzzbaits too.
As soon as I get away from it's like right now, it's our busy season at work, so we don't have much time to do anything right now. Now until about probably, usually after July 4th, it starts slowing down a little bit. So I'll have a little more time.
Let's talk.
Like that nice?
Let's talk.
Just now got that?
Yeah. Let's talk big swim baits. Yeah. Talk big swim baits.
Aaron said it's scary throwing a 12-pound going that deep, 14 pounds. Just me, but scares me on 12-pound. Dude, I hear you. Like I said, we've had this conversation before. Actually, I think it was on the Monday Night Live. I typically stay with 15-pound, but when you get out to some of them little bit deeper spots, I don't have to worry about as much lay down, or if I'm fishing a gravel point or something that I don't have to worry about it getting snagged so much, and I want to get that a little bit deeper, then I will go to 12-pound. Mm-hmm. But it's not real often.
I see Bass Guy in here talking about the Bomber fat-free shads. Yeah, that was the first deep diving crankbaits that I threw were the fat-free shads.
Mine was a Norman DD22.
DD22?
Yeah, I bought it down at Kentucky Lake.
Now that one will wear you out too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then
I found that out the hard way on a high-speed reel. Yeah, that was tough.
That's a full day, man.
I think I only had let's see. I think back then it was on a quantum rod. It was a quantum rod and reel. It was a KDV signature series. I paid I don't know how much money for that thing. But the rod was only a 6.6. I know
Oh my God.
It was 7 foot. It was 7 foot rod, but it was a heavy rod, and I was trying to throw that crankbait out on these ledges. Man, it was. I tell you what, my arm hurt for like a week straight after that. It was not good.
That's a workout, man. It really is.
Yeah, David said he's going 10-pound there. And David, I would not be surprised if you being 10 pounds, especially with the clear water you got up there. And I'm not saying all it's clear, but I've fished several of your guys' lakes up there. I think most of the time I was up there, I think my uncle and I think we mainly stayed with about 8-pound, 6 or 8 pound line. Them fish up there are pretty smart. Richard Strauss today, guys. I'm late, but I'm here now. Well, it's awesome, dude.
What's up, Richard?
Oh, Nancy's in there.
Yeah, you guys.
Probably my favorite deep diver. Here you go.
Yeah, Richard just informed me that he got a message from my Gabe Montgomery fishing page on Facebook that somebody was asking him if he wanted to chat. So if you get a message from me that says, "Do you want to chat?" It's not me. So I don't know if that's been hacked or what, but just keep an eye on that. Yeah, that's all that was said, but it wasn't me. I'm not looking to chat. Is that what I do?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'll talk. Hey, you want to talk about the fishing or something? But
yeah,
10-pound here. We got a lot of 10-pound guys. A lot of 10-pound guys here. Yeah, I stick with 12. I don't know. Like I've told you, Okie, you won't chat with me, big boy. With all them tats, I might. Okay, so let's break out some swim baits here. Okay, we talked about top, and then we talked about the little crankbait deal. So let's talk about
just so you guys know, I just opened my phone, and this is what I see.
Yeah, how can you be serious when that's going on?
Oh, I wish I would show up a little bit better. He's got a.
That's a sexy dog, man.
It's a sexy dog. It looks like, yeah. It won't focus in on it. But he's got one. That's Okie. Just in case you guys didn't know who that was.
If you ever want to pierce your lip and you don't want to spend the money, that's the way to do it, man. Get you some KVD 1X treble hooks.
Oh, that's freaking hilarious.
Okay, so suspended fish. Not from suspended all the way down to the bottom, because a lot of times I'll be slower on the big swim bait on the bottom. Big swim bait. Some of my favorite swim baits are made by Ignite, and I'm not even sure if they're still in business. These are hand poured. I can't remember the guy's name. I met him down in Kentucky. He fished several of the BFLs, but he made a really good swim bait. I'm not even sure if he's still making these, but yeah, no, that's the big dog there. So this is a 5-inch swim bait. And I'm throwing this usually on a 3/4 ounce head. These are just some heads I bought off of eBay. I've actually got some that I painted. I didn't get to this one. Yeah, stinky in it. That's a real plastic.
What is that?
I don't know. It's just that plastic. It's just a plastic smell that he uses. So when you're seeing fish on the bottom and
I got the COVID.
Huh?
I think I caught the COVID.
You might have one sniff, huh?
That's awesome though.
So talk about this. Talk about this. I'm just gonna hand it to you. You talk about it.
Oh, well, I haven't fished this, so I don't know much about it. But I do like that head. That actually fits really, really well.
Yeah.
So is that a 6/0 or 7?
That is a 6/0 hook.
6/0, okay.
Right. 3/4 ounce head.
3/4 ounce head.
It's a 5-inch swim bait, but it's a fat.
But yeah, man, I think it's got a ton of action on that tail. I do like that little. It's got a very, very slender tail back here, kind of like the any of the crap. The regular paddle tail swim baits like the Kitex and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
God, I didn't think of it. But anyway, yeah, that's if you can get a swim bait to bend over like that, that's pretty dang good.
That's what you're looking for right there. You want to hold that. You want to hold that swim bait up, and you want it to do this. If it's okay, I'll show you.
I've got some really stiff ones.
Here's a stiff one. These are Bass Magic. These are these are the first hollow belly swim baits that I bought. These are
some great baits. That's kind of like the Shadowlicious.
See, it's a lot stiffer.
Yep.
Big difference. Big difference. I guess if you want something that's got something in the winter that doesn't have quite the action. And I've caught a lot of fish on this.
That'd actually be quite the contrary there.
Well,
because in the winter I would want something that's even more than
you want that action.
Colder water is going to stiffen that up a little bit more.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. But you can actually skin these. You can peel. You ever done that? You can skin it off.
Yeah. I'm like absolutely mutilated a couple of them before I got the hang of it.
It's a little bit tricky, and I couldn't show you how to do it right now. But yeah. So back to what we're talking about. A good swim bait, that tail is going to really flop over on you. That's going to give you a lot more action. These work though. But
Paul D, no, we did not cover the lily pads and mats yet, but I'm sure once we get done with this, we can definitely go back to that, because that is probably, I'm going to say probably one of our top things to fish.
Yeah, I love the mats, man. It's starting to happen right now. So ignite baits, big hammer, another swim bait.
Hang on. Oh, who's asking? Show that again up there.
Yeah, ignite baits.
There it goes.
Now that right there, my friends, is a manly swim bait. Pull that out, man. That's a 7-inch.
Oh, sure. Make me get my hand all greasy again.
You can just wipe it on my shoulder again. You want to wipe it on this other one?
I'm actually impressed.
That's a big swim bait. That's a 7-inch swim bait, guys. That weighs that plastic weighs 2 ounces. So you keep it. This is a 1 ounce head with an 8/0 hook right there.
Ooh,
yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Let me see that.
Yes, sir.
I like that.
That's
I was actually
talking
about it. Anyway, we were talking about swim bait heads a while back, and I told them the one thing that I really looked for in swim bait heads was that little bit of that cup design behind the head. I don't know if you guys can see that right there behind that head. It's got a little bit of a cup there that actually this head will set up against, so that water comes over the top. And the reason for that is I fished a lot of other swim bait heads, and when that head is too big, it's hard to explain on here. But anyway, when that head is, coming up like this, a lot of times what happens is that it will not swim right. What it does is it comes up like this, or that, or just sits and rolls back and forth, and you'll have no action out of the tails. You got to trim. You got to almost shave that swim bait off the nose of it and make it more streamlined, or it won't function right. Yep, definitely. And one thing I do like about that is it's got that concave top on it. You guys can see that there, but it's actually concaved in there. You can see right there.
It's a good swim bait.
I'll say you could almost, well, I don't think you do weedless. You'd have to have
I've caught a couple
15-odd hook in there just to keep it up.
Yeah. You had that beat. I think that beast, they make a 10-aught for sure.
Yeah. I've had the 10-aught, and I had it on the, was it American Trash Fish?
Yeah.
And it worked okay. Not that great, though. The fin kept getting in the way.
Yeah, it's you get a big swim bait like that, it's hard to do a weedless deal on it.
Yeah.
But that's Ignite Baits, guys. They make a pretty good swim bait.
Of course, impressed with that.
Yeah, it catches them, man. It wakes them up. Bass Tricks is another popular one. I mean, that they kind of got the hollow body revolution going. I don't know if you can see that, but
if you hold it up there far enough, it'll focus on it.
I'll just show you this important part.
Yeah, that is just like the Shadowlicious I fish.
Yeah, that's a Bass Tricks. This is what's responsible for the bass craze right there. I don't know if you guys can see that. Yeah, you can.
Here, let's see. It'll focus up there. For whatever reason, you got to get pretty dang close to that thing. Maybe not.
Maybe not.
It was earlier.
And that's called Disco Gizzard Shad. That's probably my favorite color.
You just like the disco part.
I like the disco part because it's got a good groove to it.
Wadded fishing. Oh man. Hey, you still got your shirt?
I'll show you any other swim baits that I've got. I got a lot of.
And just in case you're curious, I still have Aaron's shirt too. He has yet to wear it.
Okay. Let's get off these big swim baits, and I will show you. Find my scroungers. This right here is called a scrounger, guys. I'm sure you're familiar with this.
Tom said Bass Tricks is shutting down production.
Really?
Huh.
Well, Scottsboro Tackle will take their place because they make really good swim baits too.
Streaming quality looks a lot better than it used to. Oh, definitely, dude. Paul, right. we have been, from the very bottom and just kept building and building. It's a new computer, 2 new webcams.
Facial scrub,
yes. New lighting, and then new internet too. And what else did we get?
The hats.
The hats help. Yes.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I shaved my sideburns.
That probably.
You got more of a beard than I do now.
Yeah, I try to keep it short. I don't look like Grizzly Adams. So.
Scrounger.
Mm.
Let me tell you a story about when I first found out the power of the Scrounger. I was fishing the Costa, which is the Toyota series now, down on Kentucky Lake. It's probably.
I'll let you tell this story. I'm gonna go. I've got grease all over my hands.
Yeah, I got
That's
a little
no
bit
wonder
too.
you asked me to do it.
I think he put some baby oil in there just for love and freshness. Yeah, you better come back in 5 minutes.
Story here.
This is an adult. This is not an adult show. This is a family program. Okay, so this deal right here, the Scrounger. I was fishing Kentucky Lake. Guy's name was Jeff Archie. Really good dude. Two-day event. The first day, I didn't do any good. I had a guy that he wasn't on anything, so it didn't work out. The second day, I drew a guy named Jeff Archie, and he lived down near Paris, Tennessee. So he said, we're going graphing. And, I've been graphing, but we went graphing. We spent 5 hours idling. We'd idle for maybe an hour, and then he'd pick up a 6XD or something, 10XD, make some cast, catch a fish, and then we'd move on. So we spent a greater part of the day just graphing. And he said, just be patient with me. I know what I'm looking for. And by the way, he was taught how to ledge fish and how to graph offshore by Ben Parker. And recognize that spoon?
Oh,
yeah. So Jeff Archie learned to offshore fish by the guy that made this spoon.
I eat the smaller ones.
So you eat the smaller ones? Yeah, gorilla spoon. So he anyway, we're idling. We pull back in this creek, and there's a little creek channel that comes through, and there's a hump out in the middle, and we're idling just like we've been doing. And all of a sudden, he shuts the boat down. He's like, "We just found the mother boat," and I'm like, "What?" He said, "It's going to be either really good or we're just wasting our time. We'll know really, really quick." So I made one cast with a Carolina rig, and I hooked like a 4.5 pounder. It jumped up and spit the hook, and he said. He said that's either going to hurt us or it's going to fire the school up and we'll be good. And sure enough, he had one of these on, and he managed to catch. He caught 19 keepers. 19 keepers
on the Scrounger?
No, 15 keepers. He had 19 pounds. He had on this thing right here. This is the first time I'd ever seen it. I didn't know anything about it.
I haven't thrown them, so
I didn't know anything about it. I could not get bit. I was throwing swim bait. I was dragging that Carolina rig. I was throwing a big jig, like a 3/4 ounce football jig. And he was burning that thing through there, and he was just lighting them up. It was ridiculous. I mean, it's completely ridiculous. Finally, after he, cold up to 19 pounds, he said, get back there in that back compartment box there and pull out that little plano box that's got a bunch of jig heads in there. So I pulled it out. He grabbed me one of those out. It's a 3/4 ounce Scrounger.
And the one I have is hard plastic.
He said, yeah, you might have. There's several different versions.
Yeah, I'll say the one I've got is hard plastic, and I couldn't stand it. I threw it like 30 minutes, and I couldn't stand it.
Yeah. Well, so I got that jig head out, tied it on, and then he rigged up this is a jerky J. This is made by Castake. You can use a fluke, any kind of straight tailed, minnow bait, but this is a jerky J. So he threaded this on, and this is real key on this. You got to get this thing completely straight or it'll twist the crap out of your line. In fact, it's a good idea to put a swivel on this, honestly, because they're very, very hard to get the run straight. But anyway, I put this, he tied this on, he rigged it up for me. He said, you got to burn it. You can't fish it slow. And within 15 minutes, I had five keepers just like that. It was unbelievable. But they were so locked in on this, they wouldn't hit this. They wanted this. They wanted this action. So sometimes, this will work over that. It's just the mindset of the fish. These offshore fish, they get keyed in on something. But that was my first day about learning this Scrounger. This is a 5-inch jerky J. This is a 3/4 ounce Scrounger. Now the 1 ounce, this has a 5/0 hook. The 1 ounce Scrounger is going to have your 7/0 hook, and they actually make a 7-inch jerky J. It's a big piece of meat, but it catches a bigger fish. That's what she said. And you can actually boil this bill for like a minute and it softens it up. So these have been boiled.
I'm wondering if that's because the one I've got, like I said, it's hard.
It's hard, yeah.
And it was so aggravating. I got hung up on every little thing.
They will get hung up. They're more for suspended fish. They really are. Because I lost the first one he gave me. I was trying to slow roll along the bottom, and I got hung up.
That's a jerk move. Guy gives you a bait and just go loose.
I know. I felt horrible. Well, actually, I was more concerned about if he was going to give me another one or not, because I only had 3 keepers at that time. I'm like, please, sir, here's my wallet. Give me another one of those. That's all they would bite. So there's the Scrounger, man. That's another great offshore tool. Let's talk about one more.
I seen Mike through out there who gets to wear the pink shirt. You will find out.
Find out tomorrow
morning.
Yep. 6 a.m.
Yep.
I'm dropping my video. Greg's dropping his video.
Yep. So you guys have to make sure you watch them. Trust me, it's well worth it.
Let's see. You got any more questions? You're kind of checking that out.
I haven't seen too much come through.
Okay. Let me show you.
I know a lot of 2 more. He still has his shirt. That was a great shirt. I don't think James would have wore it though. I think he would accidentally lost it on the way home. Sunday I was getting no bites till I switched to the Gambler Black and Bassin cane toad and caught 3. What lakes are you heading to? Here lately I've got a tournament over at Kincaid the 20th. So I'll be heading over there. Hopefully I'll have my boat back. That would be great.
Have you heard anything about it?
No, I haven't had any update yet. So I know they're still rebuilding. So it's kind of wait and see. I'm sure with it being boating season, just shooting off and everything else, they're probably pretty busy. So
you ever found these big hammers? Yeah, they make a great chatterbait trailer. It's the big
chatterbait trailer.
Mm-hmm. Sure do.
Does a chatterbait even work right?
Yeah,
I think it's huge.
Yeah. It's out.
Be careful how you store your scrounger heads too.
Yeah,
those really important. It's spent any game over for it working.
That's why. Yeah, exactly.
Nate Summers wants to know what else you got. Do you know Nate?
I know Nate from we are social media pals. Let's see this. Yeah, so this is a big hammer. This is another brand of swim bait. I started fishing these several years ago.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah,
that's a really slender body.
Look at that tail.
See, when you had that, I was saying when you had that in the package, I thought the thing was a whole lot bigger.
So the unique thing about this, it's got that square tail. It's completely different action. It's got more of a shad profile. No, it's got just a
really kickback.
Yeah, it's very unique. And they make a Big Hammer has their own swim bait head for it. It's got it's flat and it fits that right there just perfect. It's triangle shape and it's got a big eyeball, and I don't think I brought any up here.
You see that? So Kincaid's been on fire, winning team 3 fish limit last Friday with 15 pounds.
Dang.
And then 20 pounds on Saturday.
Yeah, I saw that. English Choice had one out there.
Choice, yeah.
Yeah, they had good weights all the way down to like
it's been
10,
good, yeah.
Yeah, I need to get out there and fish that lake more. Can't get off the cedar though. Okay, I'm going to show you my favorite offshore swim bait for catching numbers and size. And this is the Underspin. You gotta have an Underspin. This is a Cumberland Pro Underspin.
It's a pretty familiar looking.
Yeah, me and Greg are working with Cumberland Pro now, and I got some of these a couple weeks ago, and I've already caught a lot of fish on them. It's got a nice. I don't even know what size. I think this is probably like a size.
It's
1, size 2.
It's pretty small.
Yeah, this is a 3/8 ounce. If I was going to buy one weight of Underspin, 3/8 is very, very versatile, and it's got a 2-aught kind of medium wire hook. It doesn't look like much of a hook, but it really locks them. You don't really need much of a hook because they come from behind it and they suck it in like this, and that's a lot of times just it's like that when you pull the fish and it's gone. So on this Underspin, my main bait that I'm throwing on this is a fluke. The super fluke is okay, but if you can get the original fluke, you're better off, because with the super fluke, it's got that little, no, you can't see it. Well, yeah, you can. It's got that crease in there.
Oh,
You don't have the plastic there to hold it, and you gotta trim this off, because something you'll find with underspin is you want to make sure that you don't have any body hanging down below where the spinner connects.
And I'll say that's one good thing that Cumberland did with dropping
Yes.
this down off the head and then put the swivel.
Right.
That helps a ton.
Because what will happen is when you're reeling this through the water, that blade will come up, and if it touches the body, it messes it up. It won't spin. It's constant. It's a pain. I've dealt with this, and it's so this is a super fluke, but I've trimmed basically the belly out of it. So if you buy a original fluke, you don't have to deal with that. And there's some little nuances with these. You have to get them out and play around with them on what baits you can put on them. Another bait that works really good if you're wanting a little more action on this underspin is the Reaction Innovations, the skinny Little Dipper. This is such a multi-purpose.
I was going to say, I use the Rage ones too. The small, I think they're 2.5 inch. I think is what they are.
Yeah, the Rage Swimmer. You can use small Kitex and stuff like that, but
you can't go above that, like 2.5. What I think it's 2.5.
About 3 inches, and that's about what this is. But it's got it's a small body. It's a small profile. This little swim bait right here, you can put it on a swim jig, chatterbait.
Yeah, it's pretty versatile.
You got to get you some.
I think the slender body helps out a lot.
It's
compared to like the Rage and the Kitex, they're more of a round body and ribbed.
Yeah, it's just got to get a finesse profile. But sometimes they want the straight tail, and then sometimes they want the boot tail. So you kind of got to play around with them. And I've seen it where just making that switch. Say you've made 30 casts with this and maybe caught one fish. Sometimes you can just switch to this little paddle and catch some more fish. So you gotta have both of them. You gotta try them out, whatever brand you like, that you've got confidence in. But all these are shad colors. This is called albino shad. That's been one of my favorite colors.
I'll say I don't step away from more of the shad colors.
Yeah, white trash is a good color.
Except for if I'm fishing small ponds or small lakes, or more of a private area, something like that, then I'll go to like a green pumpkin.
Yeah.
But typically you have a little bit dirtier stained water with them. I think they show up pretty good in there. And it's a little bit more of a natural color print in there.
Right.
They don't have as many of the shad or anything like that in them.
That green pumpkin, the Rage Swimmer, like 3.8, I guess it is, with the belly hook and ponds, is a good one, to throw around. So one more thing, that in the same scenario as the Swimbaits, the Scrounger, and the Underspin is a hair jig. Got a couple hair jigs here. This is made by a guy named SNS, and this is an actual Underspin hair jig. And then this right here is the Prayer jig, which is made by Cumberland Pro. And this is actually fluffed out because I was fishing it yesterday. Normally when you get in the package, it's all nice and petite. But these feathers really fluff out. It's got a ton of action.
Like you just started, but you just broke it in good.
Yeah, I just broke it in good. Yeah, they really fluff out on you. As far as the differences in the two, it's kind of like the Underspin versus the Swimbait. Sometimes they want something with a little bit of flash. Sometimes they want something without the flash. This is, I think both of these are ½ ounce. ½ ounce that's the size that I like when I'm, just starting out. That gets you down to, like 20 feet maybe. Max is 20 feet. Realistically, to have good control, about 15 feet. And that's, we've talked about this before, but the Underspin, I didn't really talk about how I'm working the Underspin. I'm typically throwing out and I'm graphing, I'm seeing fish, and I'm making casts to it, and I'm counting down. I'm counting down 1 second for every 2 foot, something like that. You'll figure it out pretty quick. You want to keep it right above them, as close as you can to above them. And you can also let that Underspin and the hair jig fall to the bottom and kind of stroke it, kind of hop it.
Yeah, almost like a yo-yo.
Yeah, just hop it, reel up your line, let it fall back down, hop it. But you got to have kind of all these tools to cover those suspended fish. If those fish are 5 feet off the bottom, and you're running that hair jig or that Underspin or that big swim bait through them or above them, and they won't react. Sometimes you got to let it fall underneath them, and you got to rip it up. You got to stroke it. You can do the same thing with a football jig. But you got to stroke that up, and that makes that bait come up 4 or 5 feet off the bottom, depending on how hard you do it.
Do you stroke it a lot?
Just enough to make things work.
Right.
So blooper. Where's DJ? DJ in here? Yeah, he got that. Okay. He's already said blooper. I saw blooper. Yeah, so that's you got to have all that stuff out offshore, man. Sometimes they want one over the other, and it's takes a lot of rods. You got to have 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7 rods out there to get that done.
I've said it 100 times before. The only place I ever fished is Kentucky Lake.
Yeah,
you could fish. I mean, honestly, with my local lake, you've been there. This would actually probably do wonders over there. With the big gizzard shad that are in there. I mean, I'd be willing to bet you, even the stripers that are in there now, I bet they'd hammer the crap out of that thing.
One more thing is a 1 ounce chatterbait. Not a lot of people throw these. I've just been kind of playing around with this.
That's about the only one I'd have a little decency in throwing.
Yeah. So this is they're not seeing the chatterbait out in 15 foot of water. It's just not, and it's painful.
And I will throw this out there. I've heard a lot of guys say this. Oh, if you want it deeper, bend the bill. Guys, I've tried it, and I'm telling you, don't even mess with it. That thing, if you bend that bill, you'll get a little bit of a deeper response to it. But the problem is, as soon as you get that blade to stop, it just turns up, and it just goes straight up. Mm-hmm. It does not work as well as you think it does.
And this is a thunder cricket. I just bought these the other day because I don't know if you've been to Academy lately, but man, there's nothing in the store.
Last time I was down there wasn't anything.
There ain't nothing. It's unbelievable. I almost took a picture yesterday, but there was too many people standing in front of the empty pegs going, "Where are all the baits?" But so they didn't have any. They had no chatterbaits. I was wanting like a 3/4 ounce or half ounce. So they had the thunder cricket, and I bought 2 of those. I bought a 3/4 ounce black and blue, and I bought this 1 ounce white one. Huh?
Did you get a raise?
Well, these are like cheaper than the jackhammers.
I know,
but you got to move these a lot faster. Have you fished the thunder cricket?
No,
I don't know if you guys have.
No, I know I fished the thunder cricket. I haven't fished the jackhammer.
Okay, the jackhammer you can fish super slow. It's
that one. I heard the biggest response out of that from many people was the startup. The startup is a whole lot faster.
And you can rule it slower, and it keeps that thumb. This you got to keep it moving a little bit more than even the original chatterbait. But it's a 1 ounce. So back to what we're talking about, the deep chatterbait is something along the lines of a scrounger, but it's a little bit different. And like what Greg was saying with the crankbait earlier, sometimes if people are throwing the swim bait and you come through there with the chatterbait, it's the same fish, different color, different look.
Let me get in here just a second, because I'm going to tell you
we're working there. We're working that way.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to throw this out there. You were just talking about throwing something different. Guys, you are going to see 1,000, or not you, your bass are going to see 1,000 of the tequila sunrise worms.
That's a plum.
Or plum. They're about the same thing. Whatever. It's about the same thing. But anyway, they're going to see this purplish worm 1,000 times in the summer. So, like we were saying earlier, get something different color. Get something off the wall. If you go in an aisle and you see something, one in particular worm that I picked up that it was ugly. I mean, this thing was it's called bruised banana. And I seen that thing and I'm like, that is the ugliest worm I've ever seen. And I took it, I went through 2 packs, and this is no joke. I went through 2 packs of those things in a matter of about 4 hours at a creek.
Really?
I could not keep those things on. They were gone. I ended up having to drive back down the next day. And the place I got them is actually about an hour away from here, down in Fredericktown. That honey hole or something, fishing hole or something. That was the only place that had them. So I'd go back down there and got more of them. And I started fishing them that year. And just fishing next to, whoever I was at the time, they were throwing a regular trick worm or something like that. And I was fishing with these. And it made a big difference. I mean, like I said, just something different they haven't seen.
Right. Well, like Greg said, there'll be 100 fish that see this worm, but I'll catch 100 fish on this worm too.
You will. Yeah. And trust me, I'm just as guilty. I love that worm.
Yeah. This is an old monsters right here. If you guys don't have any of these, 10.5 inch worm, plum apple, tequila sunrise.
Yeah, they're all pretty dang close.
Green pumpkin.
I think the only difference is the fleck in it.
Yeah, it's
tequila sunrise. I don't think has the fleck.
Yeah, well, I know it's got that kind of laminate look.
It's
like a red shad has the laminate.
Yeah,
it's
a little bit different than that. It just doesn't have the fleck in it. I don't think.
But they're all a big worm out deep back to the offshore deal, a big worm out deep will get you some bites. And they do see a lot of these.
Yeah.
So one thing you can do is put it on a stand-up head. It's got a different look to it. Put it on a Carolina rig. It's got a different look to it. So I got a lot of confidence in this. This is great around grass too, and rock. It works good no matter what lake you're in.
You have any of these in there?
Stand-up heads. I don't think I do. I didn't bring my. Oh wait, yeah, I did.
Let me grab it back here.
Okay. So we're kind of talking about fishing. I guess we kind of we covered the top, covered suspended. Now we're on the bottom. So the big worm is a player for sure. Another bait that
3/16.
3/16. That's all I got is 3/16.
Yeah,
too.
that's what I couldn't think what size it was.
So we got Cumberland Pro in here. What's up? We got Hella Bass. Saw him in there.
Oh, there you go. All right.
More than one.
You guys,
pack.
he was talking about that
Yeah,
stand-up. That's the Cumberland Pro. That's the skip gap. Just started recently throwing that. I really, really like that. One thing I really like about that thing is how wide that gap is for that fish to get its mouth around that bait and everything. And you have plenty of hookup percentage there. I mean, it's a big gap there. So
let's get a big worm here.
And I can show you here. It is more of that stand-up head here. If it'll focus there. Whoop, whoop. There it is. So you can kind of see it's got more of a stand-up head there. Works really well. I've actually been throwing this a lot through brush piles, over logs, stuff like that. I don't want to lose it, but I'm trying to lose it, just kind of playing with it a little bit, and I've had pretty good luck with it, I'll say that.
Yeah, I've got a few fish on it too. I like it. It's a weird looking hook, but it does get, like Greg was saying, it gets the hook, the bend's way back there. It gets further back in your worm because of this. This was originally a hook made for tubes. Remember the first time I saw the skipjack, I think it's a Gamakatsu skipjack hook.
Yep.
It was advertised to work with tubes. So this was when I first saw this. I'm like, wow, that's a unique design, but it works great.
Yeah.
And it actually, this little 90 right here, coming off of the head there, it really helps keep that worm from sliding down. It's
I was a little hesitant on thinking it was going to do it, but it does a pretty good job of it.
Yeah, I like this.
And the one thing I do like, and like you said about that 90 being on there, with a normal head, you guys already know, I'm sure, you're going to have a little bit of on a normal hook, you're going to have a keeper right there. And if you guys fish with keepers a lot and a lot of plastics, you learn they rip the heads out of them constantly. And then you're constantly trying to pinch the head off of it just to save it and run a little bit longer. With this, if it does slide down, it catches on that 90. So you're not losing your worm and everything else. So it does save you a little bit save your baits a little bit, I should say.
Yeah, and that's another thing when you're throwing the big shaky head. Like here's just a big. This is probably a 1/2 ounce head. It's got way too thick of a hook in it, in my opinion. But this screw lock, you got to look at the distance between the screw lock and your hook point. That's your gap. This is the part that's going to hook the fish. So what you don't get with that, like that skipjack hook or any kind of shaky head that just has the regular barb for a keeper, you don't get this in the way. This doesn't bend. So if a fish is grabbing right here, it's kind of hard to illustrate that. And you set the hook, you've only got this much space to get that hook penetrating the top of the mouth. And this will actually force their mouth open a little bit sometimes. It's, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, but the screw lock, without the screw lock, is better. Now, these still work great. I've caught tons of fish on the screw lock. I mean, they hold your worm on there better.
The one screw lock that impresses me more than anything is on Moccasin's head that he had with the bed head and that swivel. That's how I like a screw lock on there. When it's on that swivel, well, like you said, when them bass bite down on it, it moves with it. So it opens up that whole gap.
Right. So what you got to look at, this is an EWG hook, and this hook's coming back down towards the eye. I prefer a round bend on most of these because, like, here's a round bend. Okay, here's your eye, and then your hook point is well above your eye. When you set the hook, that's going to catch the roof of the mouth better. And this is just my opinion, guys. I mean, they both work, but that hook point is facing back down towards the eye, where this is above the eye. I think that makes a difference.
Yeah, and another big thing is what depth you're fishing at. Because if you're pulling up this way,
it's true.
going to make a big difference too.
That's very true. Very true. So those are just little subtle things. So things that I like to fish on that shaky head out deep. I fish the deep shaky head a lot. I got a lot of confidence in that. The Magnum trick worm is killer. Catch a lot of fish on this. You can throw this in anything. These are big players around Lake of the Ozarks, around the docks and stuff, on the shaky head, on the big shaky head. They used to be. They don't work anymore though. But yeah, that's that Magnum trick worm. Watermelon candy, June bug, whatever colors you have confidence in, depending on your water clarity.
Bubblegum pink.
Bubblegum pink.
It kills me to see how many people will not throw bubblegum pink.
It works, doesn't it? I know.
It kills them.
Yeah.
I said between bubblegum pink and the methylate color for floating worms, man, you just can't beat them.
Right. And then this is the Magnum Finesse worm. It's a little bit smaller profile. So let me grab that trick worm again to show you the difference.
It's got a bigger body though.
It's fatter. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's
short and stubby.
Short and stubby. This works really good. This has been working right now. The short and stubby. Some people like the long and lean. Some people like the short and stubby. I like them both. I got issues.
Yep, Cumberland Pro says keep it old school. The jelly worm, definitely. I don't go anywhere in the summer without my jelly worms.
And I'll show you one more thing to put on that. Put on that stand-up head. The rage crawl. Underutilized, and the beaver.
Don't buy any of these guys. They don't work at all.
So everybody knows the rage crawl. It's such a multi-purpose tool, jig trailer, Carolina rig, Texas rig, whatever, punching. But the rage crawl on a stand-up head, this is just summer crawl. That on a stand-up head out deep gets bites. It really, really does.
You'll lose a lot of pinchers too.
You will. You get a lot of nips, especially if you put some chartreuse on there. It just attracts the bluegill to that. That's basically on the stand-up head. I'm going to have those two different worms, the crawl, and then you can put a beaver on there or a biffle bug or something like that. And then I didn't even talk about the hardhead. I know you. Yeah, you're a hardhead fan.
Yes,
as well.
My wife tells me all the time.
You're hard-headed.
Yep. Chuck finally made it in. What's up, Chuck? Man, I wish you would have told me you were bringing all this stuff. I would have brought some stuff up.
I just grabbed a bunch of stuff.
I can't say that it's in my boat anymore.
There you go. Talk about that. That's our next thing on the bottom.
Yep, definitely. Here, let me get all the stuff over here for you. Holy cow. Come on, get off. That's your San Diego
jam night. Should be able to pull it off.
Yeah, you're not kidding. All right, we're just going to leave it on there. So, football head. One of my favorites. Absolutely. So, you guys see right there.
3/4 ounce.
Yep. 3/4 ounce. This has got, what is this, 4/0? That might be 5.
That's a moccasin, so whatever that is. I think you put a 4/0 in it.
I think they're 4s.
4s.
No, maybe they're 5s. I think they're 5s, actually. I think. I have to look back and see. I don't remember. Anyway, you want to talk about a fine jig for points, rocky points. This is one of my favorites. You can get out in that a lot deeper water. You're going to have guys that are constantly, 5/0. That's what I thought.
Okay.
You're going to have guys that are constantly going to be throwing jigs throughout the year. Doesn't matter if it's winter, spring, summer, whatever. It doesn't matter. They're going to be throwing jigs. Somebody will be. Myself in particular, I throw a lot of jigs pretty much all year long. The one thing that I will tell you above and beyond a lot of other people that throw jigs is when you get out to deeper water. You get out to that 20-foot mark and deeper. Kincaid, for instance, you can get water over there that's 50 foot. I don't go out 50 foot, but I would say that 25 to 35 foot range, you're going to get, you're eliminating probably 95% of the people, I'd say. But you can get out there with a football jig and actually just wreck bass with these. They're not used to seeing them out there. They're imitating the crawfish. They're imitating, whatever little creature bait down there. I don't know what else is down that deep, but
bluegill.
Yeah, bluegill be down there.
Bluegill down there.
But that makes a huge difference, guys. Throwing them out in that very, very deep water in the summer. Like I said, a lot of people are going to be throwing crankbaits out there, deep diving crankbaits. You're going to see a lot of Texas rigs. You're going to see a lot of wobble heads on them steeper points, stuff like that. But a jig is something they don't see as common. So that's definitely one of my go-tos for a summer pattern.
Yeah, minimal 3/4 ounce. If I'm fishing down there around 20 ounce, 20 feet, I'll have like a 1 ounce. You know,
yeah, I was going to say, I would say anything deeper than probably 10 foot, I'll step above that half. Because if not, you're going to start losing a lot of feeling. When a lot of times what happens is if you've got a 1/2 ounce and you go out and you throw way out here, let's say it's 50 yards away or whatever, and then you've got 15-pound line up here. By the time it gets down, all it's doing, that line's dragging with you, and it's coming almost all the way back to the boat with you. You know, throw it out there. You got a little bit heavier weight. That line's it's gonna drag that line down with it and straight down. You'll get a lot longer retrieve with that too.
Yeah, make that cast, and right at the end of the cast, I'll pull my rod straight up.
Yep, you pull up, you pull out.
Yep. Give it lots of free slack line so it can fall straight down. But yeah, the jig's deadly. One more jig that I'll talk about real quick is this is a little finesse jig. But I can't get away from his jig. Sorry, I'm working on it. But this finesse jig, this is a 5/16, but the 7/16 is the one I've been using, and it gets down there. It fishes pretty good. It fishes more like a 3/4. Bigger profile.
You're throwing that on a finesse rod, correct?
I've been throwing it on a 7.3 medium heavy, so the same thing that I flip jigs with the 7/16.
Well, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. I didn't think you'd get away from that finesse rod.
No, I mean
that's what I've been throwing them on too, as a medium heavy.
Right.
That's what I was asking. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I've got other things tied on my finesse rods right now, so I don't need more rods, but I could use more rods.
I mean,
but this works.
The budget.
Yeah.
Applies. I mean,
the 7/16 is well, back to what I was saying. This is a big profile. This is a lot smaller profile. Sometimes you gotta mix it up. Give them something smaller. Those fish, they start getting a lot of pressure out there. And the same thing with that shaky head. You can go with a little small finesse worm too sometimes. But we're thinking big right now. So one more thing on the bottom is a Carolina rig, and everybody knows about a Carolina rig. I'm typically throwing a 3/4 ounce weight. Tied it to a swivel. I'm like 17 pound.
I think 3/4 ounce is the lightest thing I own on Carolina rigs.
3/4 is pretty versatile. Yeah. I mean, you can fish it halfway shallow. You can get it out 20 footish.
Yeah, and I always tell guys, if you're a co-angler in a boat, and I don't think it happens as often as people think it does. But if you're getting front end from a guy in the front of the boat, you know, a Carolina rig is hard to beat on the back of a boat.
Right.
I've won many tournaments myself. When I first started fishing tournaments, you know, I didn't know a whole lot about doing this or doing that, you know, and I'd sit back there with a Carolina rig and just whoop up on the guy up front. You know, he'd be throwing to the banks and this and that, and I'd be throwing a little bit off the bank and dragging, you know, either a jelly worm or, you know, if they wanted something smaller, maybe a brush hog. The man bear pig was a good one. But anything like that, and you catch some pretty decent bass doing that.
Tom, I hear you on the Social Security thing, limits his budget. I saw Chuck there. He's asking brass or tungsten for the Carolina rig. I use lead. I mean, that's just what I've used. So do you use tungsten, brass?
I use brass and tungsten.
Okay.
Now hear me out on this. The brass are for the rigs that are already made up. I don't throw them as often anymore. I kind of tend to lean towards making my own anymore. And I do like the tungsten. And the reason I like the tungsten is you can get away with a lot smaller weight and not get hung up on those big ones.
Yeah, I've got a boat for tungsten by Hellabass too. Yeah. My theory on that is the downside obviously is lead soft, and it can pinch your line if you're dragging, because that hole is going to bend after it's running into rocks. But you got a heavy enough weight that you can still feel really good with lead. I mean, guys that fish with tungsten, like bullet weights and stuff, if you go to a lead bullet weight, it's amazing that we used to fish with lead. There's a big difference. But
yeah, there is. And one of the big reasons I quit using lead a long time ago was there's no sound to it. And my thing was everybody had glass beads or plastic beads or some kind of beads making that clanking sound and everything else. Once you get away from that lead, you're making a lot of noise just with that tungsten.
When that
it's clanking,
right?
You know, The lead, it's too soft. It doesn't make a whole lot of sound down there. You get a little tap here and there, but that brass really clinks.
Yeah.
So that's another big kicker there. So.
You gotta, and one thing you gotta watch on the tungsten and stuff is it cracking. It'll actually crush your beads after a while. Have you ever had that happen? Well, it'll crack your bead, and then you'll get frayed on your line. But tungsten.
I have since I don't use the glass beads that much at all anymore.
Just because the tungsten is hard and it makes noise by itself.
It cracks it too bad.
Right.
I've had them pop off and then step on it in the middle of the boat. That was nice.
Yeah. That's like the other
plastic
night.
Beads. They work just as. In my opinion, I think it worked just.
And they make metal clackers too. You can buy the metal beads that work. I've got a bunch of those. But I just back to the reason that I've been using lead is because you still get when you're using a 3/4 ounce or 1 ounce lead weight. It's heavy enough that you're still able to feel the bottom contact. You can tell the difference between rocks and a 1 ounce tungsten weight. What's that cost you? $6-7?
1 ounce is right at about $6.
Yeah. So I don't know. So if I can get by with lead, then that's just my opinion. Tungsten's definitely smaller and has all the attributes that he just said. But as far as a Carolina rig rod, 7.6 I think is a must. I mean,
I don't think you can go any lower.
Yeah,
because it's hard to throw in just right off the bat. But once you get that 7.6, or even if you can have an 8, even is even better.
7,
because you want something you can really launch out there. It's hard to do.
Yeah, you're lobbing it a lot, especially as your leader length gets longer. Typically, as the summer wears on, the water gets clearer, and you want to increase your leader. I think 3 foot for me is a good manageable size leader. It still gives that bait plenty of action, plenty of freedom. It gets it away from the business end, the ball and chain part, and you can still cast it somewhat. You start getting like a 5 foot leader.
You got a little height on me, so it makes it a little easier. I'd probably typically stay around 2 foot.
Okay, yeah,
but I'm shorter, so
yeah,
it's a little harder.
But that's why you need that longer rod. You kind of lob casting that out there, and that if you try to do it on a shorter rod, you just can't really do it. It's tough. And you need something with a little bit of softer tip so it loads up a little bit too.
I will tell you, if it's the first time trying it, I would turn your reel down, crank it down a little bit, because you're going to probably spool it up a few times. Yeah, because you'll get it's weird. You'll get you can't throw it normal. You got to almost loft it.
Right.
Yeah.
You'll get it going, and your line's pulling off your spool, and then there's like this delay, and then there's another pull. You know what I'm talking about? And then that's where your reel blows up. And until you get that cast down,
it's like you twirl, or
it does.
It catapults itself at the end.
Yeah, there's another pull. There's another surge of energy there. Everything's going good, and then all of a sudden there's a surge of energy that happens. It's strange. You guys know what I'm talking about. But you can use the bobber stops like you're talking about, and if that weight is stationary, because that weight sliding is what causes that second surge. If that weight's stationary, it's a little more easier to cast. Of course, you lose the benefit of them being able to pull that bait away from the weight, because that weight's sliding. So when they grab it, they don't feel the resistance of that weight. If your weight is pegged to your line, they're going to feel that. But
yeah, typically you only peg it on the bottom. But
yeah, and it doesn't. A lot of times it doesn't matter. They usually the problem you have with Carolina rig is gut hooking the fish. A lot of times, if they pick it up and swim towards the weight, you don't even know they're on there. So they're
either that or be at the right when you make the cast as far out as you possibly can, and you don't have near enough rod to set a hook for them.
Right, and
I've ran into that many times.
And that's when your longer rod will help a little bit.
Yep.
So I'm usually 17 pound fluoro. Bless you, 20 pound fluoro. As far as the leader, 14-ish. You go mono.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I've used mono, but I use fluoro
strictly
too.
because I want the bait up off the bottom.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. And the hook. Here's another thing that you have to think about. The hook weight plays a big role. You want to match the hook to the size bait that you got, because the head. Say a 5/0 hook. Just say a Gamakatsu EWG 5/0 hook. Obviously, it's thicker wire. It's going to weigh a lot more than a 3/0. So in a bigger bait, you're going to have more surface area. It doesn't affect it quite as much. But if you're really trying to get that hook really far back in, say, a baby brush hog versus a big brush hog, and you got a 5/0 hook on there, it's going to cause that bait to sink a lot faster.
Yep.
So you're better off to go with a 3/0, and they eat that. That 3/0 is plenty of hook. You just can't horse them quite as much.
I typically use about a 3 or a 4/0 EWG hook. The H2O Express, the Academy ring. I've had a lot of good luck with those.
Yeah,
they're real light wire. So
what's your go-to on the Carolina rig? Do you have one bait that you typically will start out with?
I would say the brush hog is probably one of my biggest go-tos.
It's hard to beat.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a good creature bait with long tentacles on it.
The full size one.
Yeah, the full size.
Right. Yeah, I'm the same way. Brush hog. I like the baby brush hog. I'll show you a little bait that I've been playing around with the last couple of years. This is made by Missile, and it's called the Baby Destroyer. Yep. And they make a full size destroyer too, which is a great punching bait, by the way. But this sucker right here, it's kind of got the D-bomb type body, but it's got the little brush hog looking legs that hang off. It's got a lot of action. It's a real small profile. It's real friendly to the fish, and they just slurp it in. It floats too, man. I mean, it really has a lift to it.
Now the full size is a whole lot bigger.
It's way bigger. It's like a 7-inch bait, I think, with the tentacles.
It's huge.
It's intimidating. But something about these little whatever you call these little squid legs or whatever you call them, that really draws them in. That's one of the lures of the brush hog. Appendages. Yes, these little slender appendages that hang off the rear of this bug. They really draw the fish in. That's a good bait.
Hayabusa hooks are awesome. Portable.
You know what, Nate? My favorite Ned heads are made by Hayabusa. If you haven't tried those, I really recommend them. They've got a couple little weed guards on them, and they're a ball head. Which, to me, I like the ball head better than the mushroom style head.
They don't get stuck nearly as often.
Yeah. I don't fish Ned rig a whole lot because of that. I mean, I know up north, Ron up in Mille Lacs, he's fishing the Ned head like 75% of the time. That's the go-to bait.
Bass guy, he just nailed one of my biggest ones. So he said the big bite bait's the fighter frog, designed by Dean Roanhaus, was accounted for a lot of Carolina rigs fish for me. Yeah, me too. I throw that a lot. I actually punch with it a lot too.
Yeah, I don't know any of those, but I know what you're talking about. You can put everything. We were talking about the old monster worm a while ago. That's a deadly bait on a Carolina rig too. Like a 10.5-inch worm. Even a not a Cinco, I would go with a Yum Dinger. It's got a little more lift, but just a stick bait.
Yeah, it doesn't have the salt in it.
Right, it doesn't have salt bait or salt in it. A little finesse worm. You could pretty much throw anything behind. A crawl, speed crawl. That's what I was going to tell you guys. If the bite is really, really tough and the fish are really, really finicky, you can put that little speed crawl in there on a 3/0 light wire hook, and that seems like when they won't bite anything else, they'll bite that little speed crawl.
Mm-hmm. And a little something I'll throw out there for you guys. If you have issues with keeping it up off the bottom, if you've got a certain bait that you like throw, and you notice that it's just kind of staying at the bottom a little bit here and there, you can actually take that Expandifoam that you spray in. It's in a can or whatever. Just spray a little bit of it out in your driveway or whatever. It doesn't matter. But you can cut little bitty pieces out of that and cut slits in your worms and actually slide that in there, and that will make that float. That stuff, it's no different than any kind of floating device out there. It's got almost the same stuff in it. Like, I know a lot of guys, they used to use like tubes. They take the earplugs.
Yeah,
earplugs in them. So
I've used the earplugs before.
Yep. It's kind of the same thing, but it's, you can keep it pretty slim, and you don't have to mess up your bait or nothing like that. You can just make a little slit in there and slide it in, and then it'll keep it floating.
So 2 more things.
I thought you said one more thing.
I keep thinking about stuff. I saw these Rains bubble shakers sitting out here, and the drop shot is another way to catch those fish out deep. It's something that I don't do a whole lot. I have caught quite a few fish on them. I'm sure Hella Bass is still on here. He's got a lot of experience with the drop shot up there.
It's just one I'm not into.
Yeah, it's different. It's finesse.
No, it works.
It's finesse. It works. Yeah. You can cast these, and we're talking about those suspended fish that are up on top. Okay, so you're casting to those fish on top, and they disappear. Those schooling fish, they go down. So they're still in the area. A drop shot is a killer way to catch those fish. a light drop shot, like an 1/8 ounce weight, 3/16 ounce weight. You can put a little, the Mega Bass, what's it called? Hasdang shad, I think. It's a little baby, like 2.5 inch swim bait. Or you can put the little skinny dipper on there. On that drop shot, you can cast out and just make your cast, close your bell, and just let it swing through those fish. And I kind of started experimenting with that last summer, and I started catching some fish on it. It's interesting. And then of course you got the traditional vertical on, setting up on the fish and dropping on
Fishing
them.
like dock piling, something like that.
Yeah, tops of brush piles and stuff, or just the schools of bait, fishing down below schools of bait. That's another offshore thing. I don't do that a whole lot. And then we'll just talk about the spoon fishing. A lot of guys go to the spoons. Spoons come in all different kinds of sizes. This is that big gangster spoon, and I have not actually thrown that. I've fished in a boat with somebody that's thrown that a couple times.
Jesus.
And it just didn't look fun, but I know it works, man. So this is more practical. This is just a KVD sexy spoon. It's like a 5-inch spoon, probably 1 ounce, maybe a little over an ounce. This is more manageable. And then they go.
That's about all the ones I've got.
These are the common spoon that you see right here. I don't even know what the names of these are.
The name of the one I've got, it's a common name too.
It's not like a Strata spoon. This is a 1 ounce chrome spoon. This is a white one from War Eagle. These are just slab spoons. These catch fish, drop them. You can cast them out and rip them through the schools of shad. And then one more thing that's similar to a spoon, and works a lot like the spoon is just a blade bait. Silver Buddy was the kind of the original.
Good luck getting that out.
Yeah, I think I got a bunch of them in here. Just a blade bait. You guys know what these are. Steel shad, Silver Buddy. These catch fish off the drops, and I honestly haven't caught a whole lot of fish on these, and I've thrown them.
They get hung up a lot too.
They do get hung up a lot. They've got a unique action, and they look good. The times that I have caught fish on these has been in the fall, reeling it through schools of shad.
Okay. Do you think it makes any difference on a sunny day or cloudy?
Well, I know you definitely want to be throwing a white spoon on a cloudy day, typically, and a chrome on sunny. But that's not always true.
Yeah.
But I've seen the white work on sunny days too.
I experiment not with the blade baits, but with spinner baits a lot on that. And you hear a lot of guys, overcast skies, break out the spinner bait, windy, break out the spinner bait, this and that. And I have found if I'm fishing deeper water, I want less sun. But if you've got shallow water, it seems to do better with
with more sun.
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know why.
You think it'd be the opposite, right?
Yeah, you think it'd be the opposite, but it's for whatever reason I've just had a lot better luck. I don't know if that sun's just doesn't get down that deep, and they're used to. I don't know what it is.
It definitely makes the fish set up more on targets. I mean, when you got that sunlight, they're typically going to be tighter to a target. So if you're target casting with a spinner bait, they're going to be there when it's right up against something. When it's cloudy, they're roaming a lot. A lot of times, another thing is a lot of times on those cloudy days when you think that they would be biting on topwater and spinner bait and stuff, they're on the bottom feed.
Yeah.
I've kind of learned that over the last several years. Some of the best things you can start out with in the morning on those cloudy days or any morning is a jig or something on the bottom. A lot of times I just skip the topwater altogether.
Yep.
It just depends. I mean, sometimes the guy comes in at 20 pounds.
I haven't fished topwater much in the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times
it's hard to.
A lot of times they're still feeding on those crawfish and stuff early in the morning. So let's just got all these comments kind of caught up.
Yeah, I seen Bass Guy was talking about the below 80. So they used to make one for the Carolina rig. It was called the Carolina Floater. Come in a couple different sizes and 3 or 4 colors.
Huh. Okay.
I haven't seen that, but I would have liked to have known about that then.
Yeah, Richard, the fish doctor is good on the Carolina. Yes, the French fry and then the fish doctor. Fish doctor is made by Zoom. That's a great wacky rig bait too. It's kind of a little sneaky bait. My buddy Jerry that I'll be fishing a tournament with Wednesday. He's got a farm pond, and
you make sure Jerry's got a sandwich.
Yeah, we're gonna pack a Jerry sandwich. Yeah, we're gonna make him a good proper sandwich. He's caught some 6-pounders.
The Zoom centipede. There it is. I knew it was coming.
Man. Zoom centipede. Man, that's the first. I think that's the first bait I Carolina rigged. Actually,
centipede?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I think so.
I remember fishing that
French fry.
Where the hell is that? I think it may have been. It may have been. I think it was just a little north of here. It was creek fishing. That's when I first threw that thing, and
Really?
man, I would get wrecked on that thing.
Oh yeah, man, it's a killer little bait. Super finesse. Tom, you talking about that Carolina floater? After you said that, I know exactly what you're talking about. It looks like a bullet weight, and you put it.
I guess I haven't seen them. I don't know.
It's like a styrofoam. It's like a hard styrofoam thing.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. Yeah.
And I think the ideal was to peg it up against the nose of your hook, and it caused the bait to lift. So like you were, instead of it being inside like a tube is on the front. But I did buy some of those. Chuck says, do you use lead for punching as well? I do not, Chuck. I'm strictly tungsten. Right now, 3/4 ounce to half is not 3/4. Yeah, 3/4 ounce to 1 ounce is getting you through. I went the other way on that.
So where are you fishing?
Well, 3/4 ounces.
I know where we fish, and half ounce ain't gonna get you.
No,
anywhere.
half ounce. No, it's matted up a little bit now.
I was gonna say usually I would say by the end of July, I'm up to 2 ounce.
Yeah.
Actually, I can probably say I'd throw 2 ounce on a few different places already.
I mean, I need to buy 2 ounce. I don't have any 2 ounces. I got 1.25 ounces, maybe an ounce and a half.
I told you before, I do not like to mess around with something that I've got to shake through a mat. I want it to
blow
go through because when I'm flipping and I'm on the front of the boat, I mean, it's just constant. I want that nice, steady, just smooth, go right through, bring back out, go into the next hole. I don't want to mess around with them. But
yeah. I mean, I need to. I'm always trying to get away with the lightest I can get.
Well, I mean,
but it is a pain in the butt.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's much easier.
And how many fish do you think you miss by messing around trying to get it to drop through a mat or drop through a hole or something like that?
I don't know. I've had them come up and try to grab it off the top when you're trying to get it to shake through.
Yeah.
I've actually had them kind of
What's
almost like frog
ratio?
fishing. 50, maybe. Depends on how much grass they got in their mouth.
Yeah.
It's the same way with a frog, You're asking a lot for that, that bass to actually get that frog through a thick cheese mat. But Chuck, tungsten, 1 ounce tungsten to 2 ounce tungsten. So $6 to $10, whichever one. And we 2 bobber stops on the front of it.
Oh, 100%.
And a flipping hook. 50-pound braid, 50 to 60-pound, 5-pound braid, 3 to 5/0 flipping hook, depending on what you're throwing.
Yeah. I'd say I'm probably more on that.
4 is my mainstay, usually.
Yeah, 4, and then you get up to I was talking about the man, bear, pig, and the other one's one I'm not going to say just yet because I'm still kind of fishing it quite a bit, and I'm really liking it. We'll see how it goes this summer, though. Yeah,
but like your say if you're going to flip that baby destroyer or a speed crawl or the gambler BB cricket, which is something I use a lot when it gets really tough. That's a 3/0 hook. It's a lot smaller bait. 4 is too much.
The rage crawl is probably one of my favorites
for punching.
Mm-hmm. It's just got it's got a ton of action with the flappers on it and everything.
Yeah, I've been fishing that spicy beaver a lot the last couple of years. Yeah. That's a good one. It's got that action.
I know I'm going to catch hell for this, but the missile D-bomb, I'm sure if you guys have ever fished it, goes through mats and everything. Wonderful. I mean, it just slides right through with no problems at all. And I know I'm going to catch hell, but the Guggen Bandito bug is another really good one. It's just like the missile D-bomb, but it's got the tentacles on it, have real big flaps on it that have a lot of action. Mm-hmm. So if you want something that's going to go through the mat real easy, plus have the action, that's kind of where I would lean.
Hellabass has mentioned the game hog.
Hog, yep, it's another good one.
Structure bug.
I knew David was going to say something. Sorry, man. I'm not a Guggen fan. I'm not. They've got that's a good bait.
You're getting a Guggen hat for Christmas, by the way.
No problem. Whatever.
I'm gonna get you something. We've been friends long enough that I have to get you something for Christmas now. Oh man, you got nothing but cold frowns, man, from Hellabass.
Yeah.
Vampire fangs.
Like I said, I'm not a Guggen fan.
There's a lot of good punching baits out there.
Yeah.
There really is. You just got to figure out what they want. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I've never seen those.
Yeah.
I'm about to look them up.
I've got some. They came in purple and black and pink, I think. I used them a little bit, but I have done the earplugs in the tube as well. And
I want to cut the float. not protectors on the Carolina. Bastard. And eliminating the bead.
Yeah. So I guess we've been on here for an hour and a half. It's awesome you guys are still on here with us. Really appreciate it. I hope you've kind of I don't know. I hope we throw a lot of stuff out there.
Yeah. And if you guys would, please, as soon as our stuff comes out in the morning, please go watch them. And I know we were kind of talking about this before, but YouTube is really getting taken over with a lot of the professionals that don't have much to do. So
yeah,
we've noticed it on our channel. Our live streams haven't been nearly as packed as they normally are. Videos are kind of taking a little while to get views and stuff like that. So if you guys could, make sure you go check that out, give it a thumbs up, leave us a comment, something like that. Just help us out a little bit.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean, we're certainly not begging for views or
nothing,
but it is, the market's saturated right now, and we spend a lot of time doing this. We're definitely not. It's not a monetary thing. It's just because we like doing it. We enjoy the interaction with you guys and enjoy the artistic part of making videos. It's kind of fun and stuff. So we're gonna keep going, but it is nice to just have some comments and get some feedback on it. I love the feedback. And you know what? Talking about feedback, I got to address this. This bugs the crap out of me. Okay, who's the guy that Bassin I'm talking about on this? Who's the guy that gets on your channel and watches whatever part of the video he watches and gives you a thumb down and does not leave a comment and tells you why you're giving you the thumb down? Why? Okay.
I get them. So
first of all, in my opinion, if I've ever watched a video that I didn't care for, I just politely stop watching the video and I move on to something else that I like. Pretty simple. You got no skin in the game. It's straightforward. I mean, you can spend your time however you want. You're not obligated to watch that video. You're certainly not obligated to give the big thumbs down. You don't have to give the thumbs up. That's fine. I mean, we'd appreciate it. But if you're going to give a thumbs down, I would personally like some kind of constructive criticism, some kind of feedback to know why is it that you went totally out of your way, and instead of just turning off my video and moving on, you thought that it was necessary to give a big fat thumbs down. I don't understand that. So
I'll quit doing it.
I think I know. There was one guy that gave me a thumbs down, and it was on the crappie fishing video that I did with 3 Pound Fishing, and he was real interested in the Garmin Live Scope. And he said he couldn't see the live scope because the camera was behind us. And he gave me a thumbs down, and he told me that,
that makes sense.
Which I respect that. At least he was man enough to own it, And, my response was, well, Matt already had his camera set up in the strategic positions, and I was like 3rd rank. I just had to take what was left. And it was still decent. You just couldn't see right up on the screen. But I respected that guy because he told me why he gave me a thumbs down. And we're always trying to improve our videos, and we like constructive feedback. So, man, if you give somebody a thumbs down, tell them why.
Yep, definitely.
Tell them what they didn't like about it. That's my rant. That's just never
we
understood that.
We can't leave the live stream on a negative comment here.
Okay.
So, make sure you guys watch tomorrow. Somebody's wearing a pink shirt, and it should be pretty interesting.
You see Cumberland Pro? Where's he at? Oh,
yeah,
he said
Luther should wear a Guggen shirt.
No, I'd much rather wear a pink shirt than a Guggen shirt.
Yeah.
No, they make good.
I would not wear the Guggen shirt. Like I said, I am not a Guggen supporter.
You got one on underneath here.
No, the hell if I do.
No, they make good stuff, dude.
Keep it up, wait till I show them your tattoo.
They make good stuff, man. They do. So, we're just giving them a hard time.
Yep. So we will see all you guys next week. We'll have more baits, and now that I know that Gabe's going to bring his whole boat up, I guess I'll tack some stuff up.
Yeah, we'll try to figure out a topic next week. Maybe we can. Man, there's a lot of topics to talk about. Yeah. We'll figure something out. We'll shoot it over.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
So appreciate you guys hanging with us, man. It's been great. We're really enjoying this. It's nice to be back up in the studio. This is our second week in a row, and you work your butt off all day, and you still got this to look forward to. So we really appreciate you spending your time with us because you can spend it anywhere else. So definitely watch the videos tomorrow.
Yep.
I'm dropping one on my channel. He's dropping one on his channel.
You did
6 a.m.
Mine's at 6.
6 a.m. So you can get on there and
make sure. Trust me, you want to watch both.
Yeah, it gets really good, man. It gets really, really good. So share it on social media. That helps the channel grow more than anything. You got a Facebook page. share it, man. It's free. It don't cost nothing.
Yep.
That exposes our content to other people out there, and maybe they can spread it to other people. So that's just how it all that helps us so much. So,
and I will throw, I did put something a little special in my video.
I haven't seen your video.
No, you need to watch for it.
I haven't seen it. Okay.
So,
I'm looking forward to it.
all right,
This is
guys.
new for me. All right, guys. Take care, man.
Yes,